Hey guys, welcome back to Edenic Roundtable, the virtual sessions. I'm Wayne Willis, as always, joined by Jamie Del Grosso and Rob Lewis. Hi, boys.
Hi,
Hi.
Wayne.
As always, we're doing these daily sessions just to try and give some insights, tips, a little bit of discussion around building innovation within your organization and managing day-to-day challenges, particularly now in this whole COVID-19 lockdown. But just to stress, this is the information we're giving out is actually applicable for the much longer term. So hopefully you'll get some tips from it for how to deal with the situation now. But actually moving forward, this is all going to be very relevant. Topic today is innovation culture, how to build a culture of innovation within your organization. For us, we always stress to clients that there's three key elements to innovation, which is the strategy, what's your vision, where do you want to go, where do you want to end up, the process, how are you going to get there, what's the journey, and finally, the culture. And without this final one, without having a strong innovation culture within the organization, the other two simply don't matter because it just isn't going to happen. So we're going to give you 5 key tips really today just to try and help you along and give you a little bit of insight how to achieve this. Number one is having an innovation culture that is always on and ensuring that you make it everybody's job in your organization to innovate. This is a really important one, right, guys?
Yeah, Wayne, I think, really you want to have a situation where people are constantly innovating rather than just doing it 1 or 2 times a year or whenever you're short of ideas. You need to have it always on. And also the whole point of everyone's job is innovation is really important too, because you want to leverage all of the talent and diversity of thinking in your organization and beyond for that matter.
Yeah. And I mean, of some of the sessions that we've done as well, we've definitely had people take part in the workshops that usually aren't exposed to the opportunity of new product development or innovation, and yet they come up with some of the best ideas, don't they?
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't believe that innovation always comes from people that have a title related to innovation. Sometimes it can come from anybody within the organization. So yeah, the more people that are taking part in that, the better for everyone.
Yeah, so key point there, really, make sure it's always running, you're always feeling innovative, you're always trying stuff out. Point 2, experiment, be a bit risky, and allow yourself to fail. This is really crucial, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, arguably, if you're not failing, you're not innovating because not everything works. So things have to fail. But if you do fail, then obviously it's important to make sure you learn from that failure. But clearly, from a cultural point of view, it has to be okay to fail. There can't be fear. You can't have leaders jumping on people because there have been failures. In fact, leaders should be encouraging people to fail. I know it's a bit of a cliche, but it comes from experimenting, and it's got to happen in a good culture.
Yeah, I think more is learned through failure than it is through success in most cases. So I think definitely keep experimenting, trying things, and if it doesn't go to plan, it's not sort of a loss. It's actually a great gain in terms of knowledge.
Yeah, you might even end up somewhere better.
Well, yeah, it's all learning, isn't it? And also you want to be building a portfolio of innovation, lots of innovation happening all the time. And therefore, some of that is going to fail and it's not going to work. Some of it's going to be successful. But if you're not doing lots of it and constantly trying stuff, then you're always going to be restricted about by how much you're outputting, aren't you? So allow yourself, don't bash yourself if it doesn't quite go to plan. At least you're trying it and then you try something else and you move on.
Yeah, look at Amazon, a classic example. They're constantly doing new things. I mean, their core offering is selling stuff on the internet, but they're always doing different things: Ring doorbells, drone delivery, blah blah blah. They're doing stuff all the time.
Yeah. Point 3, outside focused. Okay, innovation is not just about inside the 4 walls of your building.
Yeah, I think like the whole not invented here syndrome is a massive problem in a lot of companies because people see it as their job to come up with the ideas, but really you're limiting yourself if you're not looking outside. There's lots of people to partner with. There's lots of stimulus to get out. If you're going to do something new, you look at what other people are doing first and take that as your stimulus and steal and borrow with pride, adapt and do it yourself. Go and look outside.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, the chances are that some amazing businesses within your own area as well that are coming up, especially startups and community hubs or whatever, that are coming up with just amazing stuff all the time. And you can really leverage that to come up with fantastic future-proofed ideas within your own organization.
Yeah, I mean, when we talk about disruption and thinking differently, there's no better way to start really than someone that isn't used to your pre-existing kind of culture and processes and things to look at what you do with fresh eyes.
Yeah. Also, if you can bring things from outside and launch them under your own brands or whatever, because they're kind of de-risked because the idea is already there. They've maybe launched it already, so it's ready to market. You can just rebadge it as your own thing. So it's a fast way to innovate as well.
Yeah, so don't be precious. Open your doors and let the outside in.
Yeah.
Point 4: restrictions and barriers. With these have to be minimised in an organisation. This is probably one of the key issues with innovation, right?
Yeah, exactly. And there are always restrictions. There are regulatory problems. So we don't make this kind of product. We can't access that type of consumer, etc., etc. But really, managers and leaders have to be there to give the people the support to reduce these barriers and minimise them as much as possible. I mean, some barriers are not movable, but you can always find a way around them. So it's a way of making it easier for people to innovate. Just taking away some of that internal nonsense, like constantly going endless rounds of PowerPoints to get to the next point. All of those things can be taken away really, really easily. But it requires the leaders to step up to allow that to happen.
Yeah, and I think with the clients that we've worked with in the past, this tends to be one of the biggest hurdles that they face when it comes to trying to think of something new. And I think that's probably the same for a lot of organizations.
Yeah, and final point, it's all about leadership, isn't it? This stuff has to come from the top down, and the leaders of your organisation. You need to understand what's motivating your team, and explore where they're most passionate, because then passionate people will deliver interesting outputs, right?
Yeah, I think the leadership not kind of believing in the messages that they're telling the staff to believe in. Again, it's probably one of the biggest stumbling blocks and one of the biggest reasons why that people aren't having the right kind of innovations that they're looking for.
Yeah, I think motivation is often linked to reward, obviously, and people tend to think about reward as pay or bonuses or whatever, or promotion, but actually people want things at a deeper level. So that's like respect, ability to go off and do things on my own, trust. All of those things are actually way more important to people. So I think leaders have to forge that relationship with their people and their teams to get to understand them, to get to know what motivates them. And really what you want is to make sure that those teams are led by project leaders who have a passion for the projects and want to get things done. And they can basically, it's like a captain in a team sport. If you've got a great captain, your football team or your rugby team, people will follow them and they'll go beyond and deliver things. And that's what you need to create as a culture. And not everyone can do that. It's not often that easy, actually. But you will have people in your organisation who can do it.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay, so top 5 tips there for building an innovation culture. Make sure your innovation's always on, you're innovating all the time, and ensure that everyone's involved. 2, make sure you're experimenting and make sure you're okay to fail, and trying lots of things all of the time. 3, be outside focused, let the outside in, partner, look at what's going on in your community. 4, reduce restrictions and barriers, be open to trying things out. And 5, it has to come from the top. Leaders have to be engaged in it and get the buy-in from the staff. And if you get that, you'll achieve some excellent stuff. Okay, guys, thanks very much. That's really interesting. Catch you for the next roundtable. See ya.
Bye.